Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Ryan Wimpey, who's here to share with us tip-top canine dog training and franchising. So how did one troubled rescue dog inspire a nationwide franchise business with 24 locations? Well, today's guest is here to share with us that remarkable story. So Ryan Wimpey, founder of Tip Top Canine Dog Training, has spent the last 18 years training over 5,000 dogs and sharing his passion for teaching with others. He manages 3 businesses, Tip Top Canine Franchising, with 24 locations across the U.S., Tip Top Canine Tulsa, an Oklahoma training facility with a 32-person team, and Tip Top International, a pet product wholesaler. So let's welcome to the show, Ryan Wimpey.
Hey, Marianne, thanks for having me.
My goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about the work you're doing and just the impact you're making. Why don't you share with us, what even inspired you to develop Tip Top Dog Training?
Yeah, well, what the big inspiration was Curly, my first dog. Curly was a rescue from the side of the road, and he had anxiety. He barked nonstop. He peed everywhere. He had a really big negative impact on my relationships. um, and so at the time, I had to have roommates. I was in college, and having a dog with all sorts of behavioral issues really negatively impacted my relationships, cost me, a best friend. Another one, we almost, got into fistfights over this little dog with issues. So it got me really obsessed with, hey, there's got to be a really good way to train. There's got to be a way to help these dogs so they don't end back up in shelters. And that was a long time ago. That was 2007, 2008. So 2010, I started Tip Top Canine. Instead of reward or punishment, we use a classical conditioning based method. Works really good with dogs of all ages and all issues. So at our corporate location right now, we're training a 13-year-old dog, and he has some aggression. And his owner is about to go into a retirement community where aggression and behavioral issues, since they live so closely, is kind of frowned upon. And so we're able to take dogs with issues and train the dogs and then transfer that training to mom, who's not in the best health, but doesn't want to leave her dog when she has to have a life change. And so it's really rewarding work.
Oh my goodness, I would say that it is because I have a rescue dog and
Yeah.
there are issues that you just never thought that you would experience. My dog has a issue of chewing things and she'll go find things to chew. And usually they're like my expensive cowboy boots or something like that.
Oh, man.
I know. So so trying to curb that with whatever is going on within her is an interesting journey. So I really applaud you for being able to find out what is going on with these dogs and really get to the psychology of, how can we do dog training differently?
Yeah. So one thing, Marianne, is that a lot of people don't take into consideration through the test. A lot of behavioral psychologists now are telling us dogs mentally, emotionally, they're about at the same place as a 2.5 to 3-year-old child, right? So if you think of that toddler, even if they're intelligent and they can problem solve, they still need a lot of leadership. They don't need harsh leadership, but they need firm, consistent, patient leadership with the adult constantly prompting them what to do, whether it's to pick something up or not yell or, use the restroom properly. They still need a lot of prompting. And that's how dogs are, except the dogs are kind of in the body of a 14 to 16-year-old with the mind of a 2.5, 3-year-old. So they may be very agile, have some problem solving, but it's important to remember that emotionally they're going to cap, right? And they still need a lot of patient prompting from an adult.
Why don't you share with us the challenges that you faced with Curly and how you overcame those?
Yes. So some of the challenges he had is he was a rescue. If I opened the front door, he'd run away. He would pull in the leash and choke himself. He would bark incessantly. And was that 18 years ago? I was in an apartment, so excessive barking just didn't work. He had potty training issues, all sorts of issues. And so I tried a lot of the normal, 17, 18 years ago, positive and negative reinforcement, and it didn't seem to work. And then what ended up happening is I had roommates move out at the time, and I had to actually send Curly to go live with my mother because I couldn't afford to live on my own. And it broke my heart. And that's what got me really obsessed with continuing to look at other ways to train because he was a smart dog. He just had, when you have real true anxiety, reward doesn't work. Because if you're like, say, claustrophobic, and I was like, hey, Marianne, I put cheesecake in the closet, you're going to go, Ryan, I'd rather die. Right. And it's hard to reward someone through real true anxiety. And on the other hand, if I were to say, hey, use punishment based training and say, hey, Marianne, get in the closet or I'm going to beat you with a stick. If it's real true fear, you're going to say, hey, beat me with a stick. I'm not going. And so what they really need is that like someone to say, hey, I love you. I'm going to take you by the hand and we're going to go in the closet. And they need like that firm leadership and prompting. And then we go in the closet 50 times and the first 50 might be rough. But if we do that day after day, that person or the dog learns that they can trust that leader. They learn that the leader is going to walk them through those scenarios. That's where classical conditioning comes in because what Pavlov discovered in his experiments is that involuntary automatic response is more powerful than the reward of the punishment because the involuntary, the automatic response is not going through that conscious thought. Reward, do I want that reward or do I want a higher reward? Or is that the highest reward? Am I willing to take a punishment or not? Right. So when I think of the level of a dog's mental emotional state, can reward and punishment work? Absolutely. Everyone's seen it work on a dog. But the more issues the dog has, a little bit harder it is. And so with Curly, having to now, obviously, my mother was great to Curly. And then, once I was done with school, she never gave him back because he was a good dog. He had some problems. And so it just got me obsessed with looking. And with the Tip Top method, it's now a scripted out, structured method that works regardless of the behavioral issues. And that's actually our focus is really dogs with anxiety and aggression.
Wow. How exciting is that to be able to have a path forward for so many people? Because that's such a just a really difficult place. I mean, I know that you have trained, from what I understand, over 5,000 dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, my gosh. I mean, what you must have one remarkable story. I know we've talked about Curly, but another remarkable story you could share with us.
Yes, I just so now that I run the franchising company, I don't train as many dogs. I'm mostly training humans. I'm training trainers, managers, etc. But I still do take dogs, especially the really hard ones because it's still my passion, right? Last let's see, August, September, I was training a manager from a Utah location and we went out to a house and our headquarters is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was this retired couple. They were like 65, 70 years old and they had these two dogs. A dog had puppies in their garage. A stray pit bull had puppies in their garage. They looked like lab pit bull mixes, and then left. And this retired couple, bottle fed all the puppies, and they rehomed all of them except for two, and they kept them. Well, they didn't know the mom. They don't know the dad, and the puppies turned out to be very aggressive. Right, very dog aggressive. They had a chain link fence. The dogs would rush at the fence. The dogs would try to bite any new people. They couldn't walk on a leash. The dogs would bite the leash till their mouth bled, throw themselves on the ground. Very dramatic, very extreme dogs. So like when we came, I had to take over the consultation because it was trying to bite the guy I'm training. So I actually took those lessons because I'm in charge still. I can take the lessons, and so I was really excited. I took the lessons. But at the consultation, the wife was literally crying. The husband's like, I'm ready to get rid of these dogs. And the wife's like, she knows the only place that's going to take those dogs is a shelter, right? But every year, 3 million dogs across the US get surrendered to shelters. About 400,000 plus dogs get euthanized every year. We can fix most of those issues, right? And these dogs were only a year old. They were just really uncivilized wild animals. So within 6 weeks, I had them coming off leash in the front yard. I could bring a dog out. They could be 10 feet away from a dog, 5 feet away, and ignore the dog. Now, they still had some negative impulses. If I wasn't there, the dogs would still choose to engage, but I can stop that. We're starting healthy behavior. They could walk on a leash. So now mom and dad could actually take them to the vet. Because before they'd had the mobile vet out and the mobile vet refused to treat them because she was scared of the dogs. So now they can go to the vet and be healthy. Now they can have a proper exercise and people can come over. And we're literally changing the trajectory of those dogs' lives because at that trajectory, seeing this a lot, somewhere around 3 to 5 years old, those dogs probably would have deep punctured someone or another dog and would have ended up getting put down. And now that's not going to happen because they just literally got some obedience training. So it's exceptionally rewarding.
Oh my gosh. I mean, those dogs probably would have been put down had you not taken the time to do that training with them. I mean, what a gift that is. Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Ryan Wimpey in regards to tip-top canine dog training and franchising. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Are you an author, speaker, or expert who is looking for more publicity? Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up for free interview requests from shows looking for guests. Radio Guest List is the #1 free booking resource for radio, podcasts, and TV talk shows who are looking for experts like you right now. Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up today to get the visibility you deserve.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
It's one thing to become attached to your perfect home, but what do you do when that home becomes attached to you? A family in dire need of a fresh start, a mysterious house tied to the past. Buried deep within the foundation of the old Far Hill Manor lies a centuries-old secret. Dark forces or something stronger just waiting to be discovered. Caretaker, a supernatural thriller by breakout authors R.J. Halpert.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest Ryan Wimpey in regards to his business, Tip Top Canine Dog Training and Franchising. So in your meeting with folks to do this type of training, do you feel that you're working with the person as much as you are with the dog?
Absolutely. So it's always half and half. The people have to be trained just as much as the dog, if not more, right? So just think of a 3-year-old child. I can take the child. So like I have kids that are 4 and 6, right? And if they go to grandma's house, they don't act exactly the same, right? You've seen that as they do at my house. They know grandma's a little lax. Grandma's going to, give them a little more candy. Let them watch a little more TV, etc. And it's the same with the dogs. The owners have to be trained how to parent their dogs, how to set proper expectations, how to communicate, or it doesn't work.
Now, I know earlier you mentioned franchising, and I'd love for you to share with us what that looks like because I was so interested in how Tip Top Canine does its franchising.
Yeah, our franchise model is a little different. So first, how it starts off, one thing that we do differently is we do lots of initial training, right? So we do 2 weeks of virtual training on theory and consultations, understanding what's going on with the dog and etc. Then we spend 6 weeks of initial training at our corporate headquarters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 6 days a week, exceptionally hands-on. So the initial training is exceptionally thorough. Most people are doing 10 to 14 to 20 days of training in other companies. So we do a lot of training. And then the people that are drawn, that are really have a passion for dogs, and they're like, yes, I think this would be my ideal occupation. Those tend to not be the same people that are good at training an administrative assistant to answer the phone and book appointments. They may or may not be talented in Google and Facebook ads, how to read ad reports, how to deal with marketing companies, etc. So what we've done in our franchising model is we've given most of the back office support to a corporate team. So we answer their phones, book their appointments. We do all their billing and invoicing. And then we also have a product center, right? And on top of that, we also run their marketing. Then they get to focus on the actual training the dogs and training the humans. They get to focus on the thing that they're passionate about. So basically the first 5-6 years, everything I really struggled with, I took that off the plate for people. And we started with 6 corporate stores. We didn't start franchising. But what my wife wanted to do is she's like, hey, at some point, we're going to have to give people ownership, right? If we really want them to be invested. And so like, what better way than just give it all to them? And what happened is the actual end client result in franchising, the location managers go to owners and they take more ownership, and they actually delivered a higher quality product, a higher quality end service, because they're 100% invested and they have the support. So it was really exciting.
What an exciting opportunity. And who are the type of people that you are really looking for? Is it any age, any kind of background? Because I know we've gone over that a little bit.
Yeah, any age or background would work. One of our most successful location owners, he was an HVAC technician, right? So he loved dogs, right? He had no dog training experience before, but he's a doer. He's a hands-on doer. Another one of our really successful ones was a youth pastor. Another one was a graphic designer and a mortgage broker, husband-wife team. Another guy did door-to-door pest control sales. So really, the biggest thing is that they have the ability to follow a system, right? We say, hey, this is how I do consultations. This is how I do lessons. This is how I generate results and how I train clients. People that want their work to equal their money, it's still everything's work, right? Any business, any franchise is really, we're looking for doers. That's who's the best fit. We normally have people out for a discovery day first, make sure they like us. We like them. The dogs like them. We want to put them hands-on with dogs. But yeah, that's basically, it can work for anyone. It's still work though.
Everything is. Anything worth having is work.
Yeah.
There's work involved. Well, and if someone wants to reach out to you in regards to franchising, where do they go?
Yeah, they can go to tiptopcaninefranchising.com, or they can go to tiptopcanine.com, our main site, and go through that and then click on the franchising tab, fill out the form. One of our office managers will be in contact with them. And then from there, normally have a few talks, and then we want you to come out for discovery day and see if it's for them.
I think it's so empowering that you guys take over so much, because most businesses do struggle when it comes to the marketing and the admin and all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
so, you've got it set up in such a way that you really empower people to do what they love to do, which is help people and dogs.
Yeah, when the people really drawn to dog training are normally like the HVAC guy. Hey, they're hands-on. They're more a kinesthetic profile. If I were to personality profile them, they'd come across very kinesthetic. They're not going to be good at a desk all day. If I try to sit them at the desk half of the day, they're gonna struggle. Some of our trainers may walk 6 miles a day or more, right? So it's when we take the stuff off the table that they're not as good in, they have a higher quality of life that comes across in their business, and everyone wins long term.
So can you go over some of the training programs that you offer? Because I was so impressed with, you've got aggressive dog training programs and group programs? I'd love to hear about them.
Absolutely. So our group program is a lifetime group support twice a week for the life of the dog. So most of our locations, about 9 months out of the year, they have a lifetime group class that's 45 minutes long, and that's included in all of our packages for continuing education. The main two packages we have is either in-home privates. The home is where most of the issues are. So we go out to the home, we do a consultation with the dog, and then the private lessons are half dog training. The trainer goes out, we work with the dog for 30, 40 minutes. Then it's half human training. We work with mom and dad for 30, 40 minutes. Then we write them out homework on a homework sheet, 20, 30 minutes homework a night, and then schedule the next appointment. The other option for people with less time or, with the aggressive dogs, a little more issues, like we just have a 13 at corporate headquarters. We have a 13-year-old dog right now with some aggression. Well, that dog, we could do 100 lessons. It needs the board and train. It's more like a doggy boot camp. So with the board and train, we take the dog, could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 4. We train 2 to 4 hours a day, depending on how much the dog can handle. Most dogs get about 3 to 4 hours a day. And then once they kind of do everything on that certain board and train list, then we go home and spend 2 to 3 hours training mom and dad. Both work, but it's a different time or money investment. But we still do lifetime group classes forever after to make sure, people are humans, right? They're going to backslide. Dogs are going to backslide. The lifetime group class, you don't have to pay any extra. That's just a service we provide to make sure if our clients or dogs fall behind, that they can always catch back up and no one has to give up on Fluffy.
I love that. I love that. And another thing I found so fascinating is also with the franchising. I mean, you have a lot of states that are just looking for these type of programs to be in their state.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And in some of our states, we're on wait lists right now. So, there's still, the dog industry's gone up the last 20 something years in a row. The pet spending, it's been recession proof. 2008, during COVID, pet spending went up. And so, yeah, there's still a big market for it, and it's still not saturated, right? Because again, most people cap out around 1 to 3 employees because you have a kinesthetic person, someone drawn to the dogs. They don't really do good in that office stuff, and they get bogged down and they end up not growing.
Oh, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Well, and can you share your website with us one more time?
Yes, it's tiptopk9.com, TIPTOPK, and then the numeral 9.com.
My goodness, Ryan, you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Marianne, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you, Ryan. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about tip-top canine dog training and franchising. For more information on dog training, or maybe you think that you're a fit for franchising, visit tiptopk9.com. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.